Hi, everybody. It's me, Dr. Glanton from Still Standing, and I am excited to be here with you today because guess what? We're at episode 9, and I wanted to kind of make sure episode 9 is a follow up. It's kind of part 2 from episode 8. So, if you don't remember, we were talking about a very important topic. We were talking about menopause in women. And I think it's important to talk about, and I've been talking about some of the challenges that I had over the course of the years with that process from premenopause to menopause to postmenopause. So I wanted to share with you that experience. So today's title and episode is about when my body changed. It's a part 2 from going from shame to hope. So that's what we're going to be talking about today. So this episode is a continuation of the story that I started in episode 8 about my experience going through menopause in my late 30s and not really knowing. So I need to make sure you understand that a lot of people don't know that they're in menopause, and you're certainly not thinking about that in your 30s and 40s. You've heard of it, you hear mainly people talking about night sweats, but until you experience it yourself, it's really a whole nother thing. One of the challenges that I found before we get into talking about it is I did not know what I didn't know, if that makes sense. So I knew that something was going on in my body, but I didn't know what it was about. So I am talking to you today as a person that has had these experiences and that am sharing with you the victories, the shame, all the different symptoms that I had, and how you wondering, how does menopause make you feel that way? It did for me. So if you haven't heard that one, I invite you to go back. If you haven't listened to episode 8, I invite you to go back and listen to that one. It's the basic introduction. Today we're going to get into a little bit more sensitive areas that nobody wants to talk about. Not even I didn't want to talk about. But I'm sharing to you these things retrospectively. These are things that happened to me, and at that time I wasn't happy or to talk about it, and shameful, and just having so many things. But today I want to talk about the part that nobody prepared us for. So that's going to be actually the dryness in your body that you have, the odor that you experience in your menopause and body changes, and just being disconnected from your body, like not knowing why your emotions are so out of whack, why your sleeping is out of whack, why your thermometer, your body can't regulate heat, you're hot, you're cold, all the different things, just the tiredness and the weakness and the irritability. It's a real situation. So for a long time, I thought really it was just me. I didn't know what was going on. I thought it was me. I want to say I thought I was the only one. I don't know what I thought. I just felt like something's going on with me, and I don't know. Like I thought, could it be a thyroid? I mean, I had all these different thoughts. And of course I am a nurse, but I've never been through menopause. So I don't know. I know some of the symptoms, but some of them, aren't clearly defined. Like they didn't talk to me about, how when your pH is off, it makes you have like vaginal, odor that you may not like be familiar with. So I wanted to kind of touch on that because that's like, nobody wants to talk about that. So this is one of the things why I'm talking about from shame to hope, because thank goodness those things are resolvable, and they were for me. So I wanted to kind of touch on that. So for a long time I thought I was the only one. I didn't know how to tell my doctor what was going on, and it was because it felt so personal. And at those, sometimes you may have a male doctor, you might you may not have a female doctor, or specifically if you have a general doctor and maybe not a gynecologist. And I didn't know if there was something wrong with my hormones, or if it was my, thyroid, or what was going on, that my body wasn't regulating. So I had all of these symptoms happening at one time, not realizing that I was going through menopause or premenopause at the time and heading towards menopause. Of course, you're not going to tell your friends. And I didn't even tell my husband, because what am I going to tell him? I didn't know what was happening, So because I didn't understand it, and honestly, I had a lot of shame. I did. I had shame because I was like, what happened? Because I'm very, I'm very particular. As women are very particular. We have menses and we have things. So we're used to having to deal with, personal female problems. And menopause is a whole nother level of problems that you have to get used to, or get an understanding of. So here are the unspoken things that we're going to talk about. I used to hear people saying like, oh, menopause, that's natural. You're going to go through that. I know my mom and my auntie, or people, they didn't really sit down and say, Leslie, menopause is this, and this is what I experienced. It's not something you're taught about, and your doctors don't go over it with you. They'll just, go into detail about it. Really, nowadays, because of technology, I was able to go and do a lot more research. But when I was a younger woman, that wasn't a topic, taboo. It was a stigma. That wasn't anything anybody talked about, because you relate menopause with, you're getting old. Okay. That means, you're not really maybe possibly bearing children or anymore, and your body's kind of making a whole different shift. So that wasn't something that, it's not anything that felt natural to me, or it's anything that I could expect to do. But one day I just looked in the mirror and I didn't recognize who I was. I felt tired. I couldn't lose weight for anything. I was bloating and I was feeling like puffy. I didn't realize, that all of these imbalances sometimes throw off your ability. I felt like, that's why I thought it was thyroid, because of my weight. I couldn't lose weight. And then I felt like, I was getting my labs tested to make sure I didn't have any underlying preconditions or diabetes or anything that would cause me to be unregulated or to feel off. My confidence was shifting a little bit, and my body no longer felt like my own. I would get up back and forth in the middle of the night. I'm going to the bathroom. I thought I was doing my diabetic. What's happening? I didn't know what was happening. So sometimes it could be a lot of those things, but you need to really get it checked out. And I started to carry this quiet grief, because I felt like a vibrant person to a person that was uncertain about maturing and aging, and feeling like, is this what it's aging looks like? Is this what this is going to be about? So that was a little bit of a challenge. I noticed especially probably around menopause time, I started to notice that I was having trouble, with, I just felt like vaginal odor, or sweaty, smelly kind of. He's just like, what? Where is this coming from? So your body no longer feels like your own. You feel like, I don't know. And then for women, a lot of times, some women may be actually using female cleansers and things of that sort, that sometimes throws your body pH off even more and makes it more susceptible to just natural bacteria that gets into your, in your body, in your vaginal area. So that's always, some of the problems that you have as you're shifting going through menopause. So just be aware of that. And then I also noticed that as I noticed that the dryness, vaginal dryness. I just felt like I've never had that before. And now all of a sudden I feel like I'm experiencing that, and I didn't know, like, was I drinking enough water? Why was I having that? But again, your hormones, I'm just being honest. And then you become a little distant because you feel like even sexual intercourse, that something that's natural that we do, especially yeah, as you're an adult. And now, like I said, I'm in my 40s, 50s years old. I'm 64 now, so you're talking about from my late 30s, all that year. That's just 20 something plus years of going through different levels of transition. So I'm telling you over the broad span of the things that happened to me from the beginning, the middle, and the good news is to where I am now. But I'm sharing that with you because I realized that I have a daughter in her 40s. And so, hey, maybe I need to have this conversation and kind of help them out as I'm listening to their symptoms. And that's what led me to start talking about this, because I'm realizing that my daughter and probably some of her friends may be having some of these premenopausal type challenges. It's a real situation. So I became distant. And I'd ask myself, like what's happening? You lose your libido, or at times I felt like I didn't need to do anything. Even as a married woman, it just, your hormones, and it's just a lack of some of your hormones being off, that you don't have those urges like that. And so you go into, or I felt like I kept that shame silent. That shame kept me silent from talking or talking to people because I felt embarrassed, because I felt like I'm still young. I mean, like, how do you control this? Now, then once I did realize, and they tested me, and that I was in like premenopause and all, there was so many different treatment things, and I, one pill after another, it's just like, I don't know if I want to take that, is there something else that I can do? So I started to research and started to pray, of course, and I started to speak up about it. I was really bothered by it, and I wanted to talk to someone, and I kept talking about it and kept presenting the challenges. And in that process, I found out that there were other women having the same silent problem that they weren't talking about. They weren't talking about it, and I understand why. So many women are going through the same thing silently, quietly embarrassed, and quietly wondering if something's wrong with them. And I really need for, if there's any men listening to this and you feel like, whoa, this is way too personal. Well, not so much. I'm saying that you're married to a woman, and you have a mother, and you have sisters and things like that. And we all get older, including men. They have their versions of things that they go through as they get older as well. And they know about them more than anyone, and they probably are keeping just as silent about them as we are with the challenges that we're having. But that's something that we don't need to be shameful about. We need to kind of work through it. And that's what I'm hoping that this video will do, is to kind of help us begin that conversation. And so many women, as I said, were going through the same thing silently, quietly embarrassed, quietly wondering. And so I want to share with you, as always, some good news. Some good news. Now, the difference is you're going to have probably good news sooner than I did, but it doesn't matter. There's still good news. I can tell you that. I just wanted to pause right now and kind of share what's helped me, what's been helping me. And this is me, woman to woman. This is me talking to another woman. So one of the things that has helped me, yes, I am a doctor, I am a nurse, but I am not talking to you as a medical professional. I'm talking to you woman to woman. I am not promoting any products or anything like that, but I'm just sharing with you what worked for me. And maybe it'll help you, maybe it won't. But I started using a combination of probiotics. They have gentle female washes and cleansing routines, and that has made a huge difference for me, because it's very important that your body your pH is off in your body, in your vaginal area, and having that restored. The probiotics helps replace that normal flora or bacteria that's in your body that's lacking or decreases, and it goes along with your hormones, and that's what creates a little bit of these problems. But I've been using a combination of that. And then you start to feel that your normal self again. That freshness, that feeling of feeling like you don't have like body odor, or feeling that sense of, not your normal way that you're used to being as a female. More balanced, more like me. I do admit I do create healthy elixirs. I've learned over time, and I'm not trying to sell any of that for you, but if you're interested, I will send you the things that I use, that I drink and all, just to keep my body in a well balanced state. And you want to kind of have your body working at a very high level, and that could be something that you can talk to your doctor about as well, because I'm not trying to recommend anything specific for people, but just telling you some of the things that I have done. And so I've looked into where to start, and I did put in I will put in my bio just a list of some things that are affordable that I got from Amazon, if you want to, consider them, if you're having some beautiful tea tree washes and things like that handle different types of challenges that women have sometimes. And I want to leave you, most importantly, though, and I appreciate, first of all, I want to say thank you. This is a tough topic, and I want to thank you all for giving me the opportunity to kind of work through it with you, because it's difficult for me too, because I know it's kind of it can be embarrassing to talk to anybody about, but I want you to feel comfortable talking about the things that are difficult to talk about, and I think we need to be in that place. So being truthful is always a good thing. It helps people say, hey, I feel better, somebody else is talking about this. And so if it's me doing that, I am so happy to do it, because I sure wish somebody was talking to me, telling me these things. But I want to leave with you a scripture that helped me through this, through awkward times. And so I'm going to leave with you 2 Corinthians 4:16. And it says, though awkwardly we are wasting away, yet inwardly we are being renewed day by day. So I want to encourage you, be it menopause, as a woman, being it whatever it may be as a man, prostate, or just aging or challenges, because these things are they can affect your self-being, your well-being, and your mental health if you don't understand them. But they certainly do not define us. And we just need to keep, even though our bodies are changing, you are not broken as a person. You're still beautiful. You're still amazing. You're still handsome. You're still, wonderful. These things don't define us as men and women and couples and relationships. They just don't. I know that society makes it seem like it does, but it doesn't. You're still worthy. You're still whole. So don't let shame keep you from healing. That's my message for you today. Whether you're in the middle of this or you're just beginning, I pray, my prayer for you is that this episode gives you the strength to speak up, to seek support, and to hold your head high through these challenges. I really do pray that for you. So I'm Dr. Glanton with Still Standing. You can see my episodes on YouTube and Linktree. I invite you on this journey with me through life, where we're going to be talking real talk, real situations, real challenges. This particular 2 episodes, part 2, was brought to me as a topic of needed to be discussed. But there are so many other things we'll be talking about on this journey. So thank you for sharing this time with me. Until next time, take care of your body, speak kindly to your soul, and keep rising. And remember, I see you. Until next time. And share this episode if this helped you. Share it with a friend. Leave a comment about any challenges you're having. I'd love to hear how you're navigating this chapter in your life. I love you guys. See you again on Still Standing with Dr. Glanton. Bye.